Hi friends, it's Taylor. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing my October budget review. First, I'm going to put up some screenshots from my spending trends in October. It was kind of hard to capture the exact numbers because September had 30 days and October had 31, so the chart gets a little wonky here at the end. But by the end of September, I spent $2,534.06, and by the end of October, I spent $2,209.40. So I spent about $300 less in spending overall. Now that we got my spending trends out of the way, we're gonna head over to the accounts page and review everything and make sure that it is up to date. Okay, I've just verified that my bank accounts are accurate. Now we're gonna move down to investments, and I have my Acorns at just under $20. And then I have my work 401k plan, which is on pause. And my investments did drop a little bit compared to last month, but it's fine. That's just how the market works. And then I'm gonna scroll down to my loans. I previewed this in my September video, but I have to start updating my Nelnet student loan balances manually. So I'm going to update the balance for this, as well as update the balances for this other student loan and my last Affirm loan. Also, I forgot to say, I just recovered from COVID, so I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit off, but we're just gonna work through it so I can get through this video. So now everything is accurate, and we're gonna head to the top and see my net worth. Just to recap for September, my net worth was at negative $14,602.90, and in October it went up to negative $14,136.92. So that was a positive net worth change of $465.98. Now that we're done with the accounts and net worth, we're going to head over to the recurring bill calendar and make sure everything came out like it was supposed to last month. And it looks like everything did. I've explained before that Chewy is my pet insurance, and they always bill the $58.09 separately. So that's why this one is a little gray. But other than that, everything seems to be in alignment. So we're going to head over to transactions. I'm going to go ahead and categorize these transactions that have come out on the first 2 days of November, as well as review all of my transactions for October, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've gotten all of my transactions sorted, and now we're going to head to the plan. So starting with my income, I made the expected income because I work the same hours and get the same pay every month. I rolled over $277 from last month, and I earned $9 in interest, which is absolutely amazing. For those of you who don't know, I have a high yield savings account with Capital One. And because I am saving so much money for my emergency fund and also my moving fund, I am getting a lot of interest from that. For reimbursements, I only went into the office twice for October, so I really didn't get a lot in reimbursements, which is fine because that meant that I got to work from home more. And then for gifts, I actually need to rename this to gift/loans, because I paid someone $125 and then they paid me the money back, so it canceled out. And Monarch is being weird and showing $278 here instead of $277, so I am just going to drop this $1, and now it shows the actual amount. Hopefully Monarch gets that fixed soon, but this doesn't bother me that much. And let's close out the potential and planned and head over to expenses. So my rent was as expected at $983. I am going to go over next month's bills a little bit later, so I'll come back to that. For household, I spent $541, and I usually set it to $350 to $400 a month, and the reason that this one was much higher is because I got COVID and had to order some at-home tests. I also needed to get a couple of things for Coda. I had to get myself some medicine, and it was just really based on a lot of health needs that I had this month. So that is why this month was so expensive, and hopefully I can keep the expenses lower in November. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think some of the things in household was supposed to go in health and wellness. I don't know if I feel like dealing with that right now though. I don't think it's going to affect my budget review when we look at the cash flow later, because both of these are under needs. So I may or may not come back to this later, but I'm just trying to get through this video, so I will leave that as is for now. For wants, I had $18 in personal subscriptions. For personal care, I got some supplements. For restaurants, I spent $63. Business expenses was $40. I am definitely happy that my future expenses are going to be lower for my business. Oh, speaking of, I did move my business expenses to wants because I am trying to keep the needs category at things that I absolutely need to survive. We'll go into a deeper dive at a later date when I actually do the refresh for Monarch, but I did just want to point that out, that I did purposefully move the business expenses to wants for now. I forgot to say my typical budget for restaurants and fun money is about $25 a month. So I pretty much stayed on track for that for fun money, and I did go over a little bit for restaurants, but I still enjoyed the food and had a good experience, so I'm not too mad at that. Monarch was doing the glitch again, so that's why I have this as 29, because it was the only way I could get this to show 0 and have these two matching here. And for wealth, I have my debt payments, my investment subscription, and then for loans, I have $63. So this is pretty much the same as other months. Don't have anything in the other category, and now we're going to review my contributions. So I was able to contribute $1,100 to my moving fund. My goal is to contribute $1,000, so I was able to put an extra $100 to that, so that was exciting. And then I also said in my September video that I was going to add $17 to my emergency fund account to bring it back up to $1,000, and that's exactly what I did. Now I'm gonna go back up to the top, and I'm gonna set next month's bills back to 0, and that brings my leftover amount to $379. So now what I'm gonna do is pull up my bank statement and see if on the last day of October I had $379 left in my account. That's just the way that I like to reconcile. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll be right back. Okay everyone, I am back. It's been about 30 minutes actually, and I reconciled line by line all of my transactions between my bank account and Monarch, and yet Monarch is showing a $6 higher amount than what was actually in my bank account. So I had $350 at the end of October, and as you can see, Monarch is showing that I had $356. But what I'm going to do is, of course, budget based on what's actually in my account, because at the end of the day, Monarch is just a software, and I'm going to follow the numbers that my bank is actually providing. So the amount that I'm budgeting is $350, and I know for my bill calendar, I do have $104 coming out here, and then I have $5 in Acorns that already came out, and then I have $10 that I need to refill my Metro card with, and then I also have my Apple Arcade subscription coming out on Sunday. So that is a total of $124.29. So now I'm gonna add that $124 to my budget for next month's bills, which, as I said, this is for November, which we are in now. So I'm gonna put in $124 there, and now I'm left with $232 minus the $6 extra that Monarch is showing for whatever reason, and that is $226. And now I'm going to deduct any of the pending or actual transactions that have already come out for November. The problem is I have already spent $233.14 in November, so I am technically over budget, but my account is not in the negative because all of the unspent money that I had was just going to my moving fund. So that just means that I most likely won't be able to hit my $1,000 mark for November. I'm just going to have to cut back in order to cover the quote-unquote overspending. For the sake of making this a zero-based budget, I'm going to do the $350 here, which is in my bank account. And now we see the $6 left over. Don't know why it's there, but whatever. And now I technically have a zero-based budget. Hopefully that made sense. So now I'm going to head over to my goals page, and I just want to make sure that the balances that are reflected under each of these goals are matching the ones that are in my bank account, and that's the same amounts that are here on the page. So my moving fund is at $2,109.73. My emergency fund is at $1,003.60. And this is my sinking fund, but the priority that I'm trying to put money towards later is my taxes. That's only at $1.26, and it's been like that for a while because that's not the most important thing right now. My goal is to save $4,000 by the end of December, and I have saved just over 50% of that. So pretty proud of that milestone. Now we're gonna head over to my cash flow. The last time we went over my cash flow section, I said that I preferred the bar chart. Let me go to October. But I realized that with the Sankey diagram, I can actually see the percentages between all 4 categories. But if I do the regular bar chart, it only has these 3 at the bottom and then a separate percentage for the savings rate. So that was a little confusing to me, and I am now going to use the Sankey diagram. So for October, I saved 35% of my income, 47.5% on my needs, 9.6% on my wants, and 7.9% on my wealth. So I do aim right now to save 30% of my income every month, so I did meet that goal. And then my needs, I'm trying to keep under 50%, which I did, so I also met that goal as well. So I've actually added a new process to my monthly financial review, and that is my projections dashboard in my Google Sheets. I really am enjoying this projections dashboard because I can enter in my actuals, compare it to the forecast, and see the predictions about my money. And this is something that Monarch does not have right now. So I wanted to take the extra step to see what my calculations would be in the future. So we're going to start with my net worth, and you'll see that the left is the actuals column and the right is the forecast. So the forecast column is full of formulas only, and I only need to enter in what my actual number was at the end of the month. So we're going to start with October, and at the end of October I had negative $14,136.92 as my net worth. And after I press enter, you'll see that the chart will update to show October's actuals. So I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see, my net worth was actually higher than expected. It's this very slight increase in gray, and so the higher up the chart I go, the better. And now that I have the actual for October, I'm just going to set it to equal this cell right here, and you'll see the chart up here update. There we go. So now you'll see that my chart has updated, and on this current trajectory that I'm on, it is expecting me to reach a positive net worth at about October 2025. So that's amazing, and as you can see, it's really exciting to see the chart update once it sees what your pattern is. And we're going to do the same thing for my cash. So that was $3,385.64. And again, I'm going to press enter, and that updated. So as you can see, because of this little green gap here, I actually had more in cash assets, which is the money in my bank account, than expected. So once again, that's great news. And now I'm going to do the same thing and set this equal to this cell, and we're going to watch the chart update. Awesome. And I'm going to actually go back a little bit so you all can see the difference. So this was saying, let's see, March of 2024, it expects me to have about $3,600, but after I update my actuals, it is saying in March I should have $4,600. As I continue to update this, my forecast will either go up or down, but right now, because I am saving more than expected, my forecast went up. And then we're going to do the same thing for my investments. Now the investments is going to be a little tricky because it actually went down this month to $612.69. This is such a huge time scale actually that you can't see the difference. So now I'm gonna type in that number again, 612.69, press enter, and you'll see this updated. So I actually had to adjust some of the formulas off screen, but I am going to set this equal to this one. And as you can see, it has gone down a little bit because at this rate, since I'm not making any contributions and the market is going down, it just kind of automatically predicts that it will continue to go down. But we know that's not the case because I do plan to make some higher investment contributions starting next year when my job does my 401k match. But I'm just going to keep this as is, and then once I get the actuals next year and start contributing again, then we will watch the chart go back up, hopefully. And then we're going to do the same thing with my debts. So my total debt balance was $18,135.25. Now I'm actually not going to set this cell equal to this cell right now because these are connected to my debt tracker and I am still trying to figure this out. But at least I have this actual number here for reference for when I actually do automate this completely. And lastly, we're going to check my credit scores and I'm going to enter those in for October. So my actual score for Vantage was 653 and my actual score for FICO was 634. And so this brings my actual to 644, which is just the average of both of these. And you'll see it moved up a little bit, but my timeline for reaching 850 hasn't really changed too much. So I guess that's a good thing, but I definitely want to increase my credit score a little bit more. All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. I'm sorry if it came across a little more hectic than my previous ones. I hope you all still enjoyed the video nonetheless. And as for my financial planner, I have so many templates that I am working on and I'm trying to get them out as fast as I can, but I want to make sure it's a quality product and that you guys don't run into any issues. So I will keep you all updated on the channel and let you know when all of the templates are available for sale, starting with the projections one. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Much love.